And some of the events change over the years, but one year we had done a congressional breakfast. And as someone who's worked and had a job that's associated with the work that happens in Congress, a congressional breakfast is pretty cool. You get to go to the basement of the U.S. Capitol, which you're like, oh, wow. And there's all these nice little conference rooms that are set up there with, a buffet. And the idea is that there were going to be some of the members of Congress who were brothers that would speak there, but also members of their staff. And because they're members of Congress and they're working around the clock, there's no really set schedule. It's like, oh, someone's coming. Everybody sit down. And then we would sit down and they would get up and make their remarks and comments. And the one that was I was blown away was Honorable Brother Jim Clyburn from South Carolina.
Yeah.
One, because I'm like, here's the guy that got Joe Biden elected. And number two, here was such a big part of the civil rights movement and probably like the last link to that part of history that's living and talking about his experience. And he talked about a book that he was going to have forthcoming. But when we were talking about brothers that you read their story and you were impacted by them, you had mentioned a couple of brothers, but did you have any revelations like that where you're like, I was aware somewhat of this person, but now knowing that they're a Freemason, it's kind of elevated them in my mind a little?
Ooh, interesting. I'm fascinated by the fact that Chuck Schumer is a Mason.
I could almost drop my pen right now. That I would have never guessed.
Yeah, we have his lodge.
Senator Schumer. Wow.
Okay. We know that we have his lodge. We know that he was a member. And I'm fascinated by that, not in a negative or, I'm not saying like I'm a Democrat or Republican or anything. It's just I'm fascinated that he is in the limelight, obviously, every day in our contemporary time. There's a lot of criticism about what he's doing, whatever. I don't want to get into politics, but I'm fascinated that he was or is a Mason. And he can, as far as I know, I don't know if he goes around talking about it. He doesn't attend Masonic activities or events. I'm just fascinated by his decision to stay where he is in the fraternity. I'm also fascinated by how it is often done in secret or quietly. It's not, there's nothing to hide. It's just that they don't particularly find that necessary to talk about. There's a really good example, by the way, in the book that I found where I think it was the 1980s or 1990s. My dates are getting confused here, but there was a judge who was trying to get appointed, a federal judge, who has to go through the appointment process. And one congressman found out that this judge was a Mason and basically said, I'm going to reserve my vote on this guy because I just don't know if Freemasonry is actually going to impact or influence his ability to make decisions on the court. Well, congressmen started to jump in, and in an open session of Congress, folks on multiple sides came in to defend this guy in the fraternity. He goes on, you had Strom Thurmond, for example, jump up and say, listen, I'm a Freemason. I've been a Freemason, blah, blah, blah. This is an excellent organization, and you can see it in the book, but they sort of come to this gentleman, this gentleman's defense strictly because they're a Mason. And you had a couple other guys jump in to defend him. And this was, a multi-day sort of thing where once they found out, a couple other guys the following day jumped in to defend this decision and say, Masonry has nothing to do with this gentleman's ability to make a smart decision on the court. Here it's a fraternal organization. And so to me, that was a very good example of how the fraternity has sort of moved away from the public limelight. When you have congressmen from different sides of the aisle taking a pause in their debates to go, wait a minute, we all have to jump in and support what's going on here because this is not right. So I think that is another one of those interesting cases of just like I would not have expected that. I wouldn't have, and it's in the record, so anyone can go and take a look at that discussion and exchange.